Congressman who was at the hearing was Republican Steve Scalise of Louisiana and a member of the subcommittee holding the hearing. Take a listen to what he had to say.
If you were involved in conversations with the White House about a travel ban, did they rule it out? Are they still considering it?
From the CDC's perspective, we will consider anything that will better protect.
So are you going to answer the question about your conversations with the White House? Is the White House considering a travel ban?
I can't speak for the White House.
Do you know if they've ruled out a travel ban?
I can't speak for the White House.
Have you had conversations with them about it?
We've discussed the issue of travel.
And the congressman joins me now. Welcome to the show. Good to have you here. That was a pretty heated exchange. Were you satisfied with the answer that you got?
Well, Jerry, good to be with you. And no, it wasn't, because it was a very specific, direct question, and it was like the CDC head was trying to evade the answer. It seems like he's had conversations with the White House, probably even about the prospect of a travel ban, but for whatever reason, under oath, he wouldn't share it with not only those of us on the committee, but the American people. If they've ruled it out, just say you've ruled it out. But to try to evade basic questions that a lot of people have about this Ebola crisis, I think is a disservice at the time where we want answers and people deserve answers.
I think the anxiety level is rising every single day in this country. But Frieden, when he was held to the fire on this by a couple of the congressmen there, he said this. He said that what's going on here is that the administration wants to keep those borders open, because if you don't do that, and people know that they can't get into our country, they'll find other means. Once they do that, you won't be able to identify them. You won't know that people were coming in from West Africa. Do you buy that?
No, that's not an adequate answer. And look, this is one of the reasons why you've got to secure the American border. If they have no confidence that they can secure the border, then go deal with that. But in the meantime, you know when people come into the country, if they're going to fly, he was suggesting, oh, they'll just fly through Brussels. Well, the thing is, if they come in through Brussels, they're going to have a passport. Right. And that passport's going to tell you where they were. So, of course, you'll know. It's a cop-out, and it's an evasion of the answer. They need to come up with protocols. Clearly, the CDC wasn't prepared for this, but they need to get prepared, because people are concerned, rightfully so, that they've got to come up with a better answer within the Obama administration to deal with this crisis.
Interesting, in the hearing today, Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn came up with a statement that Frieden made some time ago, I think back in 2011, when he said that people lie. So if you're relying on statements from the public, you may be sadly disappointed. Here's the Congresswoman.
And I'm quoting you. Hippocrates was right. Patients lie. About a third of patients don't take medication as prescribed, and a third don't take them at all. You can either delude yourself and think that patients are taking their medications or not.
So there's Frieden talking out of both sides of his mouth. Should he be fired? Should he go?
Well, look, and I told Marsha after that questioning she did that she did a great job, because I was looking at Dr. Frieden as she was asking the question, and you could tell he was uncomfortable. But again, he needs to give candid answers. Whether or not he stays or goes, the American people deserve answers to just basic questions. You know, like, have they changed the protocols? You've got groups like Doctors Without Borders and Samaritan's Purse that have been dealing with Ebola in Western Africa for decades, and they've told the CDC that their protocols are lax. And yet they were told by people in the CDC, basically just, the quote was that they were blown off by CDC. And I asked Frieden that question. I said, do you know who did that? And he was aware this happened, but he didn't even dig in to find out who in his agency is ignoring these kind of pleas from people who know what they're doing. And maybe it suggests that there's this almost a culture of complacency over at CDC that would go beyond the director himself. They need to address this immediately. Dr. Frieden himself should be the most concerned about it, should find out who those people are, and fire anybody at CDC who's not taking this seriously enough.
I think that's what's really scary about this whole story, is that it's exposing cracks in our healthcare system that we didn't even know existed. And so yet another government agency and yet another bureaucracy is a problem, and we're all surprised. What do you say?
This president is losing confidence in the American people on every front. They can't run a healthcare system. They can't even get a website working to run a healthcare system, and yet they want to try to control the Earth's temperature. And then here you see at the CDC, they say that if somebody comes in, they're going to have protocols to take care of it. And the very first patient with Ebola that comes into the United States ends up with not only him dead, but now 2 nurses who had contact with him now testing positive for Ebola. So the CDC has gotten this dead wrong from the beginning. They need to show a different sense of urgency and some competence. And this president in general, all across his agencies, has not shown the ability to run a competent administration. And the American people deserve better.
Well, we may be getting some more answers. The president meeting with his cabinet this afternoon. Congressman Scalise, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks. Good to be with you.